Good morning and good evening. Welcome to the study circle, Sri Aurobindo and Mother Study Circle, where we are reading the compilation by Dr. A.S. Dalal, Looking from Within. So just before we begin, is invoking Mother and Sri Aurobindo's grace and presence and aspiring for receptivity and suppleness so that we can take in the words and make it our life. Yeah. So we have recently started chapter 2. The title of the chapter is Looking at Oneself and Others. We have completed the first section which said discovering a hidden treasure. And now we are taking a passage from the section Turning to the Coming Light. So we have to go through this passage starting from humility. If anybody has the capacity, they can read. Otherwise, I'll do that.
Yeah, Taru, from which one?
This humility.
Humility is needful. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Humility is needful, but constant self-depreciation does not help. Excessive self-esteem and self-depreciation are both wrong attitudes. To recognize any defects without exaggerating them is useful, but once recognized, it is no good dwelling on them always. You must have the confidence that the divine force can change everything, and you must let the force work. So I'll continue or we'll pass here.
Yeah, we'll just pause here because we are taking one passage at a time.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, last time we had learned, we had read about criticism, that how, criticism is good also, but we should know how to use it. So today, Sri Aurobindo is saying, like, not today, but what we are reading today is that humility is needful. We, as a society, we do give a lot of importance to humility in general. I mean, we do give a lot of importance to boastfulness too. But humility is needful, but constant self-depreciation does not help. So the idea is that if you catch, okay, this is where I'm wrong, or this is where I do things wrong, to then aspire for transcendence from there, right? So that you can move. But what does the ego do? The ego wants to sit on it and say, oh, I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad, thus remaining bad. So the ego does not want to change. So earlier, it doesn't even see the things it does wrong. And then by grace, when we see, oh, this is where I was erring or this is my weakness, instead of actively aspiring, praying, working on letting it go from my system, now I sit on it that, oh my God, this is what I do. Oh my God, I am worthless, I'm weak, I'm guilty, I'm victim. The titles don't matter what I give to myself. I could be arrogant or I could be, really self-depreciating. But the idea is that in any of these titles, my focus is me. So what is Sri Aurobindo saying, or any master and mystic? What do they say? Make the focus him, right? Make the focus the light. Make the focus what you can become and not what you are. But in my intelligence, what I do is I grab onto, okay, my negatives or my positives, and I start dwelling in them. My brain is actively just thinking, thinking, thinking. So although I'm saying, oh my God, I was this bad, but my present, if it's occupied with bad, I'm still stuck there. So it's not complicated, and it's pretty weird that we do that. But if we do that and we recognize now that, oh, this is what we do, maybe we can learn and transcend from there so that we can actually change and move forward. So humility is needful, but constant self depreciation does not help. Excessive self esteem and self depreciation are both wrong attitudes. So one should have self-esteem, but not, excessive is harmful. One should be open to depreciation, to criticism. But if it's excessive, if I just dwell on it, if it just takes me over, those are both wrong attitudes. To recognize any defect without exaggerating them is useful, right? To recognize defects. But what I do is then I exaggerate that, oh my God, defects in myself as well as defects in others. So to recognize any defects without exaggerating them is useful, but once recognized, it is no good dwelling on them always. One can say if in my house, if I find some, I don't know, some infestation or something, how kids sometimes hide food and say if I find something hidden and it's full of ants and stuff, either I can sit and dwell on it, right? That, oh my God, it's dirty, it's stinky, how did it happen? Whatever. I can just get into the storylines and just criticize or blame or feel I was done wrong and it shouldn't have happened. Or I can clean it, right? And once I clean it, the space can be clean again. But if I keep on dwelling and talking about the dirt, cannot be any cleanliness. So that's the catch, I believe. So to recognize any defects without exaggerating them is useful, but once recognized, it is no good dwelling on them always. You must have the confidence that the divine force can change everything, and you must let the force work. If I do have that faith that anything that is not good will be dropped from darkness, I will move to light. As Mother says that thy victory is certain, then I cannot honestly dwell or be a victim or go into guilt mentality. I have to step back and drop it. If I have the true faith, it would not even stick to me. If I have the true faith that everything is going right, I would not even catch things thrown at me from that direction. So if these things still stick to me, it is just a mirror that my faith is not complete. I'm not fully, offered. And I can, instead of, crying over, oh, what I did or whatever, I can work, I can further offer myself, and the grace will take care of it. So I think this thing that you must have the confidence that the divine force can change everything, and you must let the force work. It sounds counterintuitive that why will I want the force not to work? But if I keep dwelling on how bad it is or how bad I am, how will I receive the goodness? But if I say that, oh, I have been, I've done this error. I've made these mistakes, but this is not me, and I want to change. I want to transcend. I open myself. I admit. The mother used to say when sadhaks used to visit her that you come with me with all, good thoughts and full aspirations, and everything looks nice and gleamy and shiny. Show me what you hold, show me what you hide in your closets, and then I can change. And because our blindness is such that we don't even see so many things which need to be changed or which I'm holding on to, which are not serving me. So if I see something, if I recognize any defect and I open it up, I offer that mother or whoever I believe in that please help me. Help shall be given. Yeah, very small passage, very simple. I don't think needed so much contemplation, but that's what we did. So if there's any question, any reflection on this passage, please unmute and share. And that goes for any time, just repeating them. In Life Divine, almost in the very beginning, I haven't read it much, but bits and pieces here and there was this beautiful and very complicated worded passage about, how we are limitless and yet how we keep holding on to limits and titles. And that is the reason why, there is conflict and there is suffering. So if I'm shown an error, I can, I can just say, oh, this is it, and I can be open. I can just let it go. But I keep sticking. I want titles. I want additions to my storylines that, oh, I am the one to whom this happened. Oh, I am the one who did this to her, him. Because this adds to my ego, this adds to my false, ignorant storylines, but it doesn't help me transcend them. तो इफ जैसे कहते हैं ना औचित्य अगर है कि आगे बढ़ सके, इफ माई एम is to move forward, is to progress, then I will not sit and cry or blame. But if my purpose is growth, and if my purpose is growth, I will move forward always, as Mother says. So the next passage is by the Mother, and the title is Blaming Oneself a Good Method of Progressing? So a lot of us, we use blame, both blaming others and ourselves. This is about oneself, a good method of progressing. So if anybody has the capacity, they can read the whole passage. Yeah, so I'll read if nobody can read. Yeah. So the passage, yeah, Deepa, thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll start from is blaming.
Yes, please.
Okay. Is blaming oneself a good method of progressing? No, not necessarily. It may be useful. It is indeed useful from time to time in order to get out of the illusion of one's own perfection. But one wastes much energy in self criticism. It is much better to use the same energy in making progress or concrete progress, something more useful. For example, if you have thoughts which are unpleasant, ugly, vulgar, and disturbing, and you say, how intolerable I am. I still have such thoughts. What a nuisance it is. It would be much better to use this very energy simply to do this. and drive away the thoughts. And this is only the first step. The second is to try to have other thoughts, to take interest in something else, either read or reflect. But in any case, try to fill your mind with something more interesting, to use your energy in constructing rather than in destroying. It is, of course, necessary from time to time to recognize one's faults. It is altogether indispensable, but to dwell too much upon them is not necessary. What is necessary is to use all one's energy in order to build up the qualities one wants to have and do what one wants to do. This is much more important, the mother.
Thank you. So again, going in line with the section about self-blame, that no, it's not necessary. It may be useful, and it is useful from time to time to get out of the illusion of one's own perfection. So it's interesting that this is the illusion we have. So we either go from worth issues, we have self-worth issues, a lot of us, or otherwise we have this illusion that, oh, I am good, I am perfect. It's the world that makes things hard. A lot of times things would have happened 10 years back, 20 years back, and we still remember those incidents as if they've happened yesterday. They still cause us pain because we feel we were done wrong. And it's so sad when we hold on to those things, living in the past as if, the time hasn't passed, it hasn't healed, I haven't progressed. So, but one wastes much energy in self-criticism. It is much better to use the same energy in making progress, a concrete progress, something more useful. Knowing, admitting, recognizing we have limited energies. We have limited number of hours available to us during the day. So if I want to do something with my time, with my energy, if I can use that energy to make progress, that will be useful. That might be less traumatic, less juicy, but it would be useful. So what am I choosing? And if I'm choosing the drama, can I choose better? So if the thoughts are coming to me that, oh, you did this, oh, he did this, asking myself, is it helping me? Because most of my thought patterns help me just, dig deeper graves for myself. And that doesn't help. It further takes me in. So dropping it, using it for more light. For example, mother says, if you have thoughts which are unpleasant, ugly, vulgar, and disturbing, and you say, oh, how intolerable I am, I still have such thoughts. What a nuisance it is. It would be much better to use this very energy simply to do this gesture, I think, like warding off and drive away the thought. I don't need those thoughts that pull me down. I recognize my errors. I ask for forgiveness. I offer it and I move on. Mother goes as far as saying that if you made a mistake and you recognize it, so just affirm in yourself that I would never do that again and move on. She said you don't even need to go and apologize for that mistake. You don't need to dwell on it because the idea, the purpose of that mistake was, that incident was to show you, oh, this is where you need to work. So you don't have to even go and apologize if in your being you have decided, affirm that yes, not again. That's enough. And this is only the first step, this gesturing of letting go of these thoughts, rejecting these thoughts. The second is to try to have other thoughts, to take interest in something else. You know how we talk about rehabilitation, how we say that I, knowing how I am, cannot be empty. I have to think. So if I see myself, find myself thinking of things that are pulling me down, thinking of things that are not helping me, first I reject them and then I fill myself, right? So at least till I, especially till when I'm not okay with stillness, with emptiness, then I fill myself with something more effective, more progressive. So try to have other thoughts, to take interest in something else, either read or reflect. Children, when sometimes they just get, oh, I want to get this, I want to get this, or they just want something which you know is not good for them, or you don't want to get that for them, you distract them, right? So similarly, I distract myself. I say, oh, yes, 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 you're right. You are worthless. But come, let's look at this passage. Or let's, reflect on something else. So we can do that. It's very doable because we know this strategy. But in any case, try to fill your mind with something more interesting, to use your energy in constructing rather than in destroying. This is very helpful, I think, everywhere, because a lot of times I am mostly destroying. I'm criticizing, I'm judging, I am commenting. That doesn't help the other, it just helps them become stronger in their resolve. They say you don't understand, they say you judge. But if I use my energy in constructing rather than destroying, progress can happen both with me and with others. I don't like to be blamed. Then why do I blame? I don't like to be, I don't know, criticized. One thing is to be shown, oh, this is where you make mistake, this is what you don't like. And the other thing is just hammering it into the other person. I don't like when it's done to me. When it's being done to me, let me make a resolve that let me not do it. So just that's the lesson. So what is necessary is to use all one's energy in order to build up the qualities one wants to have and do what one wants to do. This is much more important. So constructing myself and others, moving towards progress, then depreciating and destroying. So this was Mother answering the question, is blaming oneself a good method of progressing? So it is not very complicated. It's simple. We just need to start practicing this, need to start including this in everyday life. So I'll be going further. We have a lot of time and this is not new and yet it needs to be reminded. So now we have small passages on defects of others. The two are really short. I'll just read the first line, the first small passage. So do not dwell much on the defects of others. It is not helpful. Keep always quiet and peace in the attitude. So the first thing is to admit that yes, I do dwell on the defects of others because I do. And once I recognize, once I am able to accept that yes, I do dwell on the defects of others, I can stop. And how in the earlier passage where Mother was saying, choose different thoughts, choose progressive thoughts. So because it is not helpful, this dwelling on the defects of others, so I must always be quiet, keep always quiet and peace in the attitude. Because when I am dwelling on the defects of others, I'm not at peace. I cannot be at peace. So choosing peace over everything else. It's amazing how in yesterday's and for some this morning's study circle, we were all also directed towards the same thing, that keeping peace, choosing valuing your peace over everything else. You keep always quiet and peace in the attitude. So placing my peace highest. Again, just in different words, that quote from Khalil Gibran that, people say that I don't do things for, I don't know, gold. I don't sell my days for gold. They laugh at me that I don't sell my days for gold. And I laugh at them that they think my days are just worth gold. In the sense they're worth so much. So anytime I'm judging, I'm criticizing, I am accusing, I am blaming, I am justifying myself, I am choosing the storylines more than my peace. Because if I choose peace, I will not be able to do that. So anytime I choose those storylines or those things, I must know that, see, I'm trading my peace. Yes, very simple. Do not dwell much on the defects of others. It is not helpful. Keep always quiet and peace in the attitude. So pausing here for a second, if there's anything. Okay. So I will move on. I hope I'm not going too fast. I don't think I am, but yeah. So the next line by Sri Aurobindo, the next thing is, only those who sympathize can help. Surely, also one should be able to see the faults of others without hatred. Hatred injures both parties, it helps none. So again, really useful. Again, we do come across these qualities and just shunning them doesn't help. So if we recognize, yes, this is what I do, it can help me. Just 1 second. Yes, Shardani.
Taru, this is very difficult, generally. We have lot of hatreds towards others. So self-criticism is one part, but that anyway we can manage. But the finding fault with others with hatred is maybe very normal to everyone. That is what I feel. We have to
Yes,
practice this, samatha.
yeah. And it's like, if we give it a different title, if we give it a name, then it gets complicated. But if, say, I recognize something in myself, if, say, I did wrong,
Mm.
do I want, when somebody says, oh, you did wrong, is that enough that, okay, I did wrong and I'll try not to do it more? Or do I want hatred? Do I want that person filled with hatred and say, how could you? You're good for nothing. You did this, you did that, you did this. Does that help us?
Mm. True.
So when it comes to me, I say, yes, tell me what I did wrong, but don't hate me. I didn't mean it. I didn't see what I was doing. I want love. I want chances. I want places to progress. So when I am seeing this in me and I give myself that, oh, I didn't know any better. Oh, how could I do it? But I would not do it. So when I'm looking at others, giving them the same thing that, oh, in ignorance, I did this or I make mistakes, and in ignorance, they are doing it. So the hatred, when it comes, if it comes, it can be dropped. Like, I'm reminded of that Champak Lalji's beautiful example that when somebody had lost a picture of mother, he had given his, one of from his collections, he had given it to somebody and they lost it. He got really, really, he was about to get really angry. He saw the anger rise in him, and then suddenly a thought came that, have I not lost things? And that
Mm.
anger disappeared in a second. That, yes, yes, oh, I too have lost things.
Mm.
And mother says that you can only see, you only recognize those things in others which you yourself have, those defects in others. And those are the defects that pain you the most. So if I'm reacting to something, if I'm feeling hatred towards something, I must, although it's hard to admit, but I must look within and see, why am I feeling so strongly about this? What in me is reacting to it? Because see, if I'm hating or if I'm judging, like hating is a very extreme example, extreme emotion, but if I'm feeling that pain, if I'm feeling that rejection, that repulsion, I'm getting into the storylines and I'm going down, right? Is that construction or is that destruction according to the passage that we were just reading? That is destruction, right? That's going down.
Mm.
And we are being told to go up. So if something bad is being done, and if I hate that person for doing that, I am at their level, right? Just not even that's wrong to say I'm at their level, but I don't need to be there. I don't need to dirty my consciousness, and that would not help them or me. But if I can give that open space, I think this is the space that a live master can give.
Mm.
And that is why it's really, there when we are in front of, and you feel the live presence even if they are not in the body anymore. So this is the presence a master, a guru can give, that yes, yes, Angulima, that, oh, you must have killed 100,000 people, doesn't matter, come, come. This is the way forward. He was not
Beautiful.
told and said, कि, अरे भैया इतना कैसे कर दिया, right? Like just dropping it, dropping it, dropping it like a tree drops dead leaves. Just dropping it, oh, moving forward. It is this simple, but I have made it complicated. So if I have made it complicated, I can uncomplicate it too. Okay, this person has made this error, and now I am doing a bigger error by my judgments, my hatred. What am I doing? My thing is on me, right? My
Mm.
responsibility is of my thought, my emotions. The what am I spreading? If I'm feeling hatred, I'm spreading hatred. Do I see that? Would I want to spread hatred? The answer is no. Then why am I feeling hatred? In one of the harmony circles, I don't know which one, about on sin, we had read a beautiful quote. I don't remember by whom, but it was like, there is no sin. There are only errors, like in the eyes of God. Because sin is a very deep word, right? It's a very, very dark word that, oh God, a sin has happened. And errors are, oh, okay, this happened and it can be corrected, right? There's more room for progress there. So knowing that there is no sin, there are only errors, we are children of God, all of us. Let me see if I can drop this negative feeling I get, the hatred I get, and move forward. So only those who sympathize can help. And when we are honest, when we see that, oh, I too do that, maybe that person is doing it 100 out of 100, maximum intensity, I do 5 out of 100, but that lives in me. So if it lives in me, how can I blame them? How can I hate them? I can hate the sin, but not the sinner, right?
Beautiful. Yeah.
So
So
only those who sympathize can help, and I can sympathize if I recognize I too do that. That helps me in being more humble, more grounded. So surely also one should be able to see the faults of others without hatred. Hatred injures both parties, it helps none. So if I know for sure that something doesn't serve anybody, rather it creates more poison. So what world do I want? Do I want a world of love, of acceptance, or of hatred? And if the answer is love, acceptance, then I cannot let hatred live in me. I must not do that, because then, although I want one world, I'm creating the other. And this is why there is a lot of negativity in the world, because we don't realize with our thought patterns, with our hatred, with our judgments, with our accusations, with our holding of the past things which happened years back, how I'm increasing the negativity in myself and others, how I'm holding on, and I'm not living. It's not that something have transcended, it's just ghosts are living, nothing has changed. When I sympathize, when I'm open, I'm allowing myself and other the opportunity, the grace, the space to be more. There's a beautiful, beautiful quote that what was it that, in my enemy, I must see Krishna's face. Like my enemy's fall is my disgrace. In my enemy, in everyone, I see Krishna's face. There is a quote like this. Very beautiful. I mean, we don't even know it's there, so it might be tough, but at least if we know and we start thinking about it, it can help us, right? Yeah, I had it somewhere, but I can't find it. But yeah. Okay, yeah, I can't find it. Yeah. Yeah, anything else? Any reflections or questions on this? A lot of times it's a possibility and it happens to us that how do I let this go? How do I इसको कैसे छोड़ दूं, right? Like this happened to me or this is happening to me. How can he do that? And this is why we get stuck. This is what is the problem. That something in me is not ready to let go. Something in me is not ready to be open about it. I clutch so tightly. So if I want to be more, if I want to live light, I have to open that hand. I have to say that no, no. I have to let this go no matter how much the ego is loving those storylines. Yes, Sham.
Yeah, Taru, in the Vedantic way, we say that there's that kinship of a spirit kind of thing, that every other person have emanated from the same supreme being from which we have emanated, or maybe I have emanated. So that helps to dissolve the hatred and envy and all those things, jealousy and all the other negative emotions.
Yes, Sham, absolutely. Thank you.
But to practice it is a difficult task again, but slowly and steadily it dawns upon oneself. And then when we realize it that it is another kind of what you call a self-defeating habit, then it does dawn upon it.
Yeah. Yes, Sham, thank you. So hating is also not easy, right? It burns you from inside. So choosing which difficulty to take, a difficulty that can help me be more. There was this Hindi movie thing that there was a song or this dialogue in which they say that, if there was a person caught who was a thief and people caught him on the street and they started pelting him with stone and there was this person, just 1 second. So there was this person who came and he stopped the people and he said only those can throw the stones who haven't ever stole anything in their life. Ever. And everybody stops. Yes, Sham.
या बाइबल का स्टोरी है दाउ शैल कास्ट द स्टोन करके
या बट कोई हिंदी मूवी में भी पहले बहुत ओल्ड
ये
मूवी में भी
होगा
आई रिमेम्बर कि एंड देयर वाज अ सॉन्ग अबाउट इट कि वही फेंके जिसने खुद कभी चोरी नहीं करी हो. तो इफ वी आर ऑनेस्ट and it takes a lot of energy to be honest, lot of authenticity to be honest like this, but if we are honest we see that it lives in me too. So how can I hate the other? Intensities don't matter, right? Poison is poison, no matter what the quantity or the intensity. Yes.
and like Taru, when yesterday I was talking to one person.
Yeah, Sham, you have muted. Please carry on.
Yesterday when I was talking to one person, okay, so he told me that where Vasna ends, there Chetana starts, and where Mamta ends, there Samta starts. So many a times we are not able to see it, and we have a very constricted definition of Vasna, and we associate with usually that carnal pleasure kind of thing. But all this jealousy and hatred and all these things, they are also a kind of Vasna. Maybe maybe it is too strong to digest.
No, this is absolutely not strong. This is good that Vasna is desire basically, right? So till I am desiring, my consciousness cannot be true, right? It cannot be that expanse that I want it to be. So you said when Vasna ends, जब वासना खत्म होती है तब चेतना शुरू होती है, right? Then the consciousness has a chance to be more, has a chance to surface in me. So all these that, we want the world to be a beautiful place, but am I the beauty I want in the world? I don't want judgment. Do I judge? So, just taking everything back on me, perfecting my own self again and again, again and again. Like, it is said that you be one drop of poison less in the ocean of poison, and it helps, it matters. So because मेरा काम मुझ पे है, I have to focus on myself. If somebody is doing hateful things and I am feeling the hatred, I have to work on myself. They don't need to be criticized. I need to move ahead and ask myself that yes, the other person is doing what they're doing. What are you doing? I'm accountable for myself, for my own things, my own reactions, my thoughts. Even if I don't say it, if I'm thinking it, I'm responsible for that. So Shyam, what was the other thing? Sorry, I was a bit distracted. Vasna, Chetna, and the second thing you said?
That gentleman said that जहाँ पे वासना खत्म होती है वहां पे चेतना की शुरुआत होती है, और जहाँ पे ममता खत्म होती है वहां पे समता की शुरुआत होती है.
Beautiful. Yeah. I find it really funny, honestly, how at the rate of, especially in our Indian system, this mamta is really exaggerated and considered like a divine quality. And yet the roots of the word mamta is mera. And I remember once while having a conversation with Acharya Prashant, he said that he finds it hilarious that when he meets people or, in general, there are so many Mamtas in the world, right? There are so many girls named Mamta. But he said, I haven't met a single girl named Samta. Why is that? Why is Mamta revered? It's just कि I'm saying, oh, मैं और ये मेरा और उसको I worship that see माँ अपने बच्चे का ख्याल रख रही है. But how limited it's that love. And then there is Samta where I'm saying everyone is equal. Like say Mother Teresa, for example, she could practice Samta. But I would rather the mom who's taking care of her child very well. But if there's somebody taking care of 10 orphan children, I'll be like, yeah, good for her. Kind. Or I mean, I would recognize that too. But it's not equal. It's a much higher thing to have that samta. So this too, I think, is a bit surprising in a society, but yeah, whatever works. But yeah, thank you for this reminder. Today we have 8 more minutes.
And that,
Yes,
sorry,
Shyam.
I
Please,
pitched it.
Shyam.
Okay. So when I talk with that person, so he said that it all emanates from that sense of doership. Okay. That मेरा घर, मेरा bank balance, मेरी GF, मेरा degree, मेरा qualification, मेरा job, और मैंने ये करा, मैंने ये नहीं करा. So once we drop that, that ego also drops. That ego is commensurate with that kind of thing. Me, mera, I. And once that ego and that, what you call mamta kind of thing drops, then there is a vast expanse what one can feel within oneself.
Yes, thank you, Shyam.
So yesterday, while we were talking to many people, I chanced upon this thing also.
Yeah, good. Something good came out of it. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if we can take this up and then we'll end the session. So if anybody has a capacity, they can please read this. There is no harm, and we'll see if how much we take it today. Yes, Chagan,
Yes.
thank you.
There is no harm in seeing and observing if it is done with sympathy and impartiality. It is a tendency unnecessary to criticize. It is a tendency unnecessarily to criticize, find fault, condemn others, often quite wrongly, which creates a bad atmosphere both for oneself and others. And why this harshness and cocksure condemnation? Has not each man his own faults? Why should he be so eager to find fault with others and condemn them. Sometimes one has to judge, but it should not be done hastily or in a censorious spirit. Sure.
Yeah, thank you. There is no harm in seeing and observing if it is done with sympathy and impartiality. A lot of times when we see others doing things that we have done or being where we have been, there is a greater understanding, right? And this is the reason why it is said that experiences have their importance. It helps us connect to others. So there is no harm in seeing and observing if it is done with sympathy. That, oh, I have done it too. Oh, yes, that's the nature of it. And impartiality. But it is the tendency unnecessarily to criticize, find faults, condemn others, which creates a bad atmosphere both for oneself and others. And that doesn't help, right? If I tell somebody in a very accusing way, oh, you did this, you do that, they are not receptive. They just lash out, they defend. But if a guru, if a person can actually see that, I'm seeing this, and it's not, you see what is happening, I did it too, it doesn't help. Then there's a possibility that the person can drop it, can actually see it. So this same thing is happening, but the attitude, the center of operation is different. And why this harshness and cocksure condemnation? So this absolute surety that yes, yes, my God, intolerable, unacceptable. So why do I have this harshness? Why do I condemn, like Sadaji was saying, that why? How do I drop hatred if I see something bad? So Sri Aurobindo is asking, why this harshness? Has not each man his own fault? Lot of times, I know we have discussed it in harmony circles too, that if you see something and it's looking strange and I'm wondering that why, how can that person do that? If I focus the attention on myself and ask myself, "Kya mera ho gaya? I'm done. I am error free. I'm fault free." Something just shifts inside. The attention comes back to me, where I can actually do something. So sitting in that space, commenting, remembering, judging, nothing can be done. Nothing can be changed. I'm just wallowing in the pain or the hatred. No progress is happening. So again, I really liked it. It keeps coming back to me that where mother said, use your energy in constructing rather than in destroying. If this is something we can take from today, I think that can change our lives. Use your energy in constructing rather than in destroying. So in this harshness, when I'm criticizing, finding faults, I am destroying. So has not each man his own fault? Why should he be so eager to find faults with others and condemn them? If I have to find a fault, I can look within. I'll find several if I'm honest. So sometimes one has to judge, but it should not be done hastily or in a censorious spirit. So sometimes one has to judge, but it should not be done hastily or in censorious spirit. So my center of operation, what is it? Is it criticism? Is it I am holier than thou and see what others are doing? Or can I pause? Can I see, oh, I too have been in this river or in the same spot? I know what one feels when one is here. And then, as we were reading in the Friday study circle, sunlit path, that one can step back and one can see it's the force, it's just the nature of this experience that one is feeling, that it has no truth. And most of our things, they don't have truth. And yet we live, we criticize, we believe them to be the ultimate absolute things, and we lash out and we feel the pain. So remembering that there is no harm in seeing and observing if it is done with sympathy and impartiality. At any time I see judgment, or oh, I am this and the other is this, I must stop. I don't need to go there. I don't even need to see this then. Because then I'm not learning, then I'm not helping. I'm just being more poison in the poison. So we will end here today. So today we have taken up small passages. One was on humility, which said basically that you must have the confidence that the divine force can change everything, and you must let the force work. That was from Sri Aurobindo. Then Mother answered, this is blaming oneself a good method of progressing. And she said, it's not. Construct rather than destroy. And what is necessary is to use all one's energy in order to build up the qualities one wants to have and do what one wants to do. This is much more important. This was followed by defects of others. It's not helpful to dwell on defects on yours and others. And one who can sympathize can help. Hatred injures both parties. And if I have to see, let me just do it with sympathy and impartiality, knowing the nature of the land, the issues with our minds, our vital, our bodies. Let me be sympathetic and sensitive to that. Because not each man has his own faults. Why should I be eager to find faults in others? Yeah.
It's so important to love oneself and to love someone so deeply that there is no hatred, you know, because being a very naughty kid, like a naughty kid who would do things that would really end up killing him. So in some cases, that's how my life used to be, and I've always seen my mother with so much love. And yeah, there was a sort of, she used to be angry, I think, hardly for 10-15 seconds, and that was it. And then she would dial down and she would just sit with me and explain it to me that this is not how it is. Very, so much patience. Like I cannot even imagine. But again, I cannot even imagine. But that's absolute possibility. And it's not a practice. I think it just comes with love. And if I that person, it also means that the the change needs to be brought within me, and more than um, no telling, more than complaining. But the main thing I want to share, I really want to share is, this sin, don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. We had a discussion on this in a previous session also. It's so important, this word, this sentence, because when we discuss about evolution and we discuss how from animal man came, and yet in man there is a small, there is still the animal nature, no? There is higher nature, there is also the animal nature. And I see in myself this animal nature sometimes, who will give me thoughts that are so taboo in a regular world, who will give me thoughts that are disgusting if they are said out, and unacceptable. Such matlab, there is matlab उसमें matlab, there is no morale, there is nothing in it. And yet in my guilt, he's having his bread and butter, with my guilt ki, oh, I'm like this, oh, I am having these feelings, so sad, I wish I didn't have it. And that's his bread and butter. He's feeding himself. Because the guilt is such. I used to have this guilt that it is such that I cannot even share this feeling even with the mother, with not my mother, with the supreme mother, with the God. I cannot even go to a temple and say, this is the thought I'm having, because I used to feel that, okay, maybe a God will come out of the statue and give me a tight slap and say, how could you think like that? But the truth is that, again, the words from shared before, that being naked in my thoughts, just showing what it is for what it is, and just saying that, yeah, this is the thought, God, this is extremely disgusting, but this is what it is. And by saying that, I'm taking away the food of this thought, and I'm able to shine, or expose it to that light. And I'm fairly, not fairly, I'm very confident that by this only, there is 100% chance of transformation by exposing it. Because yeah, I won't talk for others, but I'm sure animal nature still exists in many. And it's not easy to share, like, especially in the public. But again, that's why we have God, we have mother to talk with. So I think that's how it really helps. Thank you.
So, Jagan, when you're not sharing it with God, you think he doesn't know? When you say he'll come out of the idol and slap you, is idol where the God lives? So one thing is that they already know, right? And secondly, you see how much I-ness there was in your sharing, right? My thought, my thing. And what are we told? That it's just a force, right? Like it's like there's a world of thoughts, there's a world of this, and I'm just tapping into it. And I can tap into higher things too. So if I remove that my-ness from it, that oh, this visited me today, right? So then also that thing about I'm sitting on it or it's sitting on me, it would have some level of stepping back, right? So my God, this too is a possibility. People think that too, because my father says this sometimes, that if I can think something, if I can comprehend, if I can say, okay, this possible? So then that must be happening somewhere in the world, because otherwise I would not even be able to think something. I used to find that very strange when I heard that as a child. That kuch bhi. And I'm realizing that yes, kuch bhi, because everything is happening. Beyond my thinking thoughts also things are happening. So it is a weird way, it is a weird world, and it is not my thought. And if it is, I must offer it, because it's, I don't know, I don't want it. And there's nothing that you can hide, because they already know. When you show, you are showing it to yourself. You're admitting it more clearly to yourself. So that is helping you. They have nothing to do with it. Do you see that, right? Like if I'm admitting something in front of the mother, that admittance is for me to let go of it. They are not gaining anything from it. It's for my own dropping of the baggage. But how will I drop something I don't know I'm carrying, right? So if you're carrying a 50 kg suitcase on your head and I said, "Arey niche rakh do," and you will be like, kya rakhu, right? Because you are not even aware you're carrying that. So this admission is that you're aware that, oh, see, these are the loads I'm carrying, for example, and they are not mine. That bag is not yours even. So just that. So taking it lightly with a smile that, oh my God, see, these are the thoughts also that are circulated in human minds. Kamal hai hamari. Bas. Don't sit on it. Don't dwell on it. Don't feel sad about it. Don't take it as your thought. कि मेरे को आया नहीं, nature of the land है. It's okay. You know, Acharya ji, I remember, I think this was one of the first things I heard in his sessions. One of the first, he said that if we were all to have our whole, you know, I'd say the whole day, our thoughts are to be recorded. And then in the evening, if they are played in front of us, we'll all hate ourselves. You know, the random small thoughts that come, which we do, we just hide it. We just say, nahi, you know, we just let it go under the carpet. So he said, this is what we are. So that's okay. You know, the point is not that now we dwell on it, but he was just showing a picture of how we say, I am holy and the other is not. But and he said it to everybody in a big hall. So just know that there's nothing you about what you shared. It had a lot of you. And I remember telling you that don't, you know, say we, say you. But here I'm saying this is not you. It's a we thing that must be given, that must be shown. It's the communal thing. I can drop it.
Yeah, thank you for reminding this. How naturally I said I, but again, it's not I. If it is I, then I would be the same 24/7. It's only for, and also, you know, these lines, these lines in Savitri, somehow it resonates in a different scenario now. You know, man lifted the burden of his fate. In the Savitri Bhavan, there is a painting of a Pahalwan kind of a guy standing on the planet with a rock on his head, and then there is light above that rock, not lock, that is shining on, you know, that's shining, but he cannot see it. Like, and when you said, you know, lifting the luggage on my head, the light is always there. Like you said, the God always knows. But by me just lifting that burden and not being able to look above, that's why the transformation takes time. I think the moment I drop the burden, then the light shines, which is already there for eternity. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I have not seen that painting. Good to know. And when am I able to drop the burden? When I know the burden exists, right? Because usually in the name of responsibility, righteousness, duty, I carry a lot of bags. They don't need to be carried. They are not mine to carry. So yeah. Yeah, so we'll be ending the session here. So thank you so much for joining. It's a beautiful compilation. Gratitude to Dr. A.S. Dalal, Aurobindo, and Mother. So just sharing the merit, if any, accumulated through all our doings and non-doings with everybody, praying and aspiring for peace and stillness and receptivity for myself and others. Grateful for the blessing of these sessions, the fact that we can read, sit, understand, disagree, agree is a huge blessing. May I not forget that. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to add, Dharu. These days I'm listening to some talks by Dr. Alok Pandey on Upanishads. So in Kena Upanishad, you know, he says that Kena is basically about questioning yourself, that if I'm talking, where is the sound coming from? When a child is born, where does the first breath come from? So, like Jagan mentioned, being naked in front of God and showing Him all our weaknesses also. Like as kids, we would hear that God is present everywhere. He's seeing you. Whatever you're doing, He's watching. So in Kena Upanishad, Dr. Alokda very beautifully explains that if you're looking at something, where is that power to look coming from? So all these five senses are also coming from the divine only. So when you are looking, it's the divine who's looking. So if there's nothing about hiding because he's there. I mean, when our senses are working, he's there in the senses. But then the fact that we are seeing that okay, I'm hiding something, that means it's not hidden. So that's what I thought. That we think that yes, we are hiding, but the fact that we are thinking is known. That means it's already exposed.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's very interesting. And true, right? Who is seeing if not him? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. And yeah, have a happy Saturday. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
Taru. Thanks, everyone.